好伤好伤，来这样看啊，我下一个下一个下一个下一个好，就这样。
Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. There are moments in the entertainment world that look completely ordinary at first, just a game, a few players, a little laughter, and some casual interaction in front of the camera. But sometimes, one small moment is enough to make fans stop scrolling. One name becomes another name. And suddenly, a simple gaming event turns into a much bigger conversation. This time, the attention was drawn to Zhang Linghe and Zhou Ye, as content surrounding their Valorant activities began circulating ahead of the Valorant Exhibition Match in Chengdu on August 22. Zhang Linghe and Zhou Ye were seen in a gaming-related setting, and discussions surrounding their interactions quickly caught the attention of fans. There was also conversation about their previous gaming experience, including Zhang Linghe's comments about Zhou Ye's improvement as a player. On the surface, it was simply about gaming. A celebrity playing Valorant. A co-star trying to improve. A few interactions that fans happened to notice. But then came the question that changed the entire perspective. What if it had been Tian Xiwei sitting there instead? What if, instead of Zhou Ye, the person beside Zhang Linghe on that gaming screen had been Tian Xiwei? It is only a fan experiment. There is no claim that Tian Xiwei actually participated in this specific situation, and there is no confirmed announcement saying that she was supposed to be there. But sometimes, fandom conversations begin with a question, not with a fact. And this question is surprisingly difficult to ignore. Because Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei already have something that makes their interactions especially recognizable to fans. They are known to audiences as the leading pair of the drama. That history matters. It means that if the same gaming situation were recreated with Tian Xiwei, fans would probably not watch it in exactly the same way. Imagine the scene. The game begins. The screen is filled with the familiar sounds of Valorant. The pressure starts building. Someone makes a mistake. Someone laughs. And then Zhang Linghe turns toward Tian Xiwei and says something simple. It's okay. Try again. Just imagine that moment. There is nothing romantic about the sentence itself. Nothing extraordinary. And yet, for fans who already remember their on-screen chemistry, even a simple exchange like that could suddenly feel much bigger. What if Tian Xiwei lost the round? Would Zhang Linghe laugh? Would he encourage her? Would Tian Xiwei laugh back? Would the two start teasing each other? And what if, after a surprisingly good play, Zhang Linghe suddenly said, "That was actually really good." Again. This is not a real quote from Zhang Linghe. It is only an imagined line for the fan experiment. But this is exactly where the experiment becomes interesting. Because fans are not only reacting to what celebrities actually say. They are also imagining what might happen when familiar personalities are placed into completely different situations. And gaming is one of those situations where carefully prepared celebrity images can become much more relaxed. On a drama set, actors are playing characters. At a press conference, they are answering questions. On a red carpet, every movement can feel carefully observed. But inside a game, things can become different. A mistake can make everyone laugh. A victory can create spontaneous excitement. A teammate can suddenly become the person you depend on. And that is why the Zhang Linghe Zhou Ye gaming interaction became such an interesting starting point for this experiment. The real situation gives fans something to observe. The hypothetical Tian Xiwei version gives them something to imagine. And somewhere between those two, the fandom begins asking a much bigger question. Which chemistry would create the stronger reaction? Zhang Linghe and Zhou Ye in a real gaming environment? Or Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei in the same situation? This is where the conversation becomes especially fascinating. Because the answer does not necessarily have anything to do with romance. It could simply be about familiarity. It could be about the popularity of a drama. It could be about the emotional connection fans already have with certain characters. Or it could be about the simple fact that fans love seeing actors they recognize from a dramatic story placed into an ordinary, unexpected environment. And perhaps that is the surprising admission hidden inside this entire experiment. The biggest attraction may not be the game at all. It may be the possibility of seeing two familiar faces outside the world where fans first discovered them. Think about it. Fans first saw Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei through a fictional story. They watched them become characters. They watched their expressions, their arguments, their quieter moments, their chemistry. And eventually, some fans began carrying that emotional memory beyond the drama itself. So when a completely different situation appears, something as ordinary as playing Valorant, fans naturally begin wondering what that familiar chemistry would look like without a script. No dramatic scene. No carefully written dialogue. No fictional conflict. Just two people, a game, and a few unexpected reactions. That is what makes this experiment so emotionally interesting. But there is another side to the story. The moment fans begin comparing Zhang Linghe and Zhou Ye with Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei, the conversation can easily move from entertainment into speculation. And this is where we need to slow down. Because there is a very important difference between what happened and what fans imagine could happen. The verified part is simple. Zhang Linghe and Zhou Ye were involved in Valorant-related content and became part of the conversation surrounding the Chengdu exhibition event. The fan experiment is also simple. We imagine Tian Xiwei occupying Zhou Ye's position in a similar gaming scenario. But everything beyond that, the stronger emotional reactions, the imagined dialogue, the idea that one pairing would be more viral than another. Those are questions, not facts. And that distinction matters. Because a viral fan theory can be entertaining without becoming a false celebrity story. We don't need to say that Zhang Linghe is choosing one person over another. We don't need to claim that Tian Xiwei is jealous. We don't need to suggest that Zhou Ye and Zhang Linghe have a relationship beyond what has actually been shown publicly. And we certainly don't need to turn a gaming interaction into evidence of romance. Instead, we can ask a much more interesting question. Why do fans react so strongly when these names appear together? Maybe it is because fandom is built from memories. A single drama can create an emotional association that lasts long after the final episode. A single scene can make two actors unforgettable as a pair. And when fans see one of those actors interacting with someone else, they naturally remember. They compare. They wonder. They ask, what would happen if it were Tian? And suddenly, the imaginary version becomes almost as interesting as the real event. Imagine the match reaching its final round. The pressure is higher. The team needs one more victory. Tian Xiwei makes an unexpected play. Zhang Linghe reacts. Maybe he laughs. Maybe he looks surprised. Maybe he simply says, "Nice one." That tiny moment. In reality, it would probably last only a few seconds. But online? It could become a clip, a screenshot, a fan edit, a discussion, a comparison, 1,000 different interpretations. And that is the strange power of fandom. Sometimes the smallest interaction creates the biggest conversation. Not because the interaction itself is extraordinary, but because people already care about the people involved. This is also why the comparison with Zhou Ye is so interesting. Zhou Ye brings her own fanbase, her own projects, and her own public image. Tian Xiwei brings a different history with Zhang Linghe in the eyes of fans. So the experiment is not really asking, who is better? That would be too simple. The more interesting question is, which kind of chemistry would audiences respond to more strongly in a gaming environment? Would fans focus on gaming ability? Would they focus on humor? Would they focus on teamwork? Would they remember? Or would the entire conversation become a comparison between what is happening now and what fans already remember from the drama? There is no confirmed answer. And perhaps that is exactly why the question works. Because we are not predicting the future. We are imagining a possibility. A possibility that allows fans to look at a familiar pairing from a completely different angle. And after everything that happened around the Valorant event, one question remains. If Tian Xiwei had actually been sitting beside Zhang Linghe, would fans have reacted differently? Would one simple compliment from Zhang Linghe have become a viral moment? Would Tian Xiwei's reaction have been analyzed frame by frame? Would fans have immediately connected the interaction to? Or would everyone simply have watched two actors having fun and playing a game? Maybe. We will never know. But that is the beauty of a fan experiment. It does not need to pretend that imagination is reality. It simply asks us to look at a real situation and wonder how differently it might have unfolded. So, perhaps the most interesting question is not Zhang Linghe, Zhou Ye, or Tian Xiwei. It is something much simpler. If Tian Xiwei had been the one playing Valorant beside Zhang Linghe, would their chemistry have created an even bigger reaction from fans? What do you think? Would fans have focused on the game itself? Would they have remembered their chemistry in? Or would one small interaction between Zhang Linghe and Tian Xiwei have completely changed the atmosphere online? Tell me your thoughts in the comments. And remember, this is a fan experiment, not a claim about anyone's private relationship. Sometimes, the most interesting stories begin with something that never actually happened. Sometimes, all it takes is one question. What if? And this time, what if Tian Xiwei had been there? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this kind of fandom analysis, stay tuned, because the next question may be even more interesting.